If you buy seeds, if you will, or plants that have been genetically modified in such a way that they have been, improved in whatever way, then it can be made illegal for you to save those seeds back and replant them.
I once was lost, oh, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead, or Leaving Egypt, depending on which video platform you like to watch your content on. My name is Justin. In the background, you can see Luella. She's playing soccer ball on the trailer. Say hi. Hi. She's playing soccer ball on the trailer because you got to let your kids live on the dangerous side every once in a while. Whatever reason, her and Leah love to get up there and play soccer. I want to explain why I haven't made any videos this week real quick. My mom has a lot of health issues, and her local doctors have sent her to the Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota to try to help find some more answers. So she had one of her trips that she had to do up to the Mayo Clinic this week, and so we were up there with her. And continue praying for her. Those of you that know know that she's had these health issues, I know are already praying, but those of you that don't know, please continue to pray for my mom, that she can find some answers to her health issues. We know that the Lord is the answer to her healing. There's no doubt about that. But we are back now, and you guys seen Melissa's video, I'm sure, and she talked about taking care of all of the animals and stuff while she was gone, or while I was gone, and all the animals are good and healthy, so she did a fine job there, her and the kids, taking care of the animals. The reason why I want to make today's video is because while I was in Minnesota, I had some time to research, and so I was researching out a few things, and I found an article that BAYER Seed Company is suing some Missouri farmers for saving their seed back. Now, I'll post a link down below in the description box if this is something you want to research yourself. But basically, if you start reading the article, what you're going to find is some farmers saved some seed back, and they wanted to use a chemical, a spray on these seeds that these particular seeds were genetically modified to be able to withstand this type of chemical. Now, from what I'm understanding, this chemical was approved, and then it was outlawed, and then it was reapproved later. It's kind of what I understood. I'm not 100% sure about that. But then they also, if you just keep reading the article, what you'll find is they're also suing some other farmers for saving back that same type of seed that was genetically modified to be able to withstand this type of spray they wanted to use on the plants. Now, you can make an argument all day long, and I understand it, right? They sign contracts or whatever, and they shouldn't be using this stuff on there anyway, or whatever you want to argue. I understand all of that. I get that. But I want you to think about, for just a second, the implications of this, right? If you buy seeds, if you will, or plants that have been genetically modified in such a way that they have been, improved in whatever way, then it can be made illegal for you to save those seeds back and replant them. Not only that, there's a pretty high probability that they have been so modified that if you replant them, they will not produce the same type of fruit or the same. So I don't mean type like, you save a tomato seed back and it's going to grow bananas. That's not what I mean. But not the same type of tomato, or not the same type of plant. This also happens in the animal world, right? So if you breed a donkey and a horse, you're going to get a mule, and 99.9% of the time, those mules are sterile. The same thing happens with chickens, right? So some of the breeds of chickens out there, some of the real high egg producers, not all of them, but some of them, if you take fertilized eggs and you hatch them out, you will not get that same type of chicken back, right? And it won't be nearly as productive. Maybe you've noticed this in your gardens with volunteer plants, right? Maybe you've let a volunteer tomato plant that come up at the corner of your garden, and you're like, you know what? We're just gonna let this thing grow, and it just never does produce the amount of tomatoes your other plants typically do, or the year's previous plants did. I've done this with green bean plants just out of an experiment, and found how they did not reproduce in such a way that was very productive at all. So I want you to think about that for just a minute and consider that whenever you are buying seed for your garden. This is the reason why we are trying to move to more of an heirloom type variety seed. the reason why Bayer and Monsanto and all of them, one of the reasons why they started genetically modifying these seeds so much wasn't just for resistance to different sorts of pesticides and all that kind of stuff, and drought resistance and all of that. It was also so they could patent those seeds, so they could own it, right? Your heirloom type seed companies, from what I understand anyhow, they can sell the seed all day long, but then you can save the seed and you can use it for bartering, for trading, for selling, and you can use it to replant your garden. And so if you are the gardening type, you really desperately need to find ways to save seeds back that will produce for you the next year, because it's a pretty high probability they may completely either outlaw the saving of seeds, or they may make it to where your seeds won't reproduce, where you'll have to go and buy new plants every single year and new seeds every single solitary year. So we need to learn how to garden differently again. And in fact, I would say we need to learn how to garden the old way again, right? Also, this brings me to my next point. Obviously, in a real, what I'm going to call mark of the beast situation, right? Gardening and all that, it's great, it's a good thing, but it's only going to be able to last so long, and here's why. Eventually you will get kicked off of your land if you can't pay your taxes, right? That's kind of my thought process. And so I'm always trying to think about, like, I don't mean this mean at all, it's gonna sound mean maybe, but like, how do we live similar to a homeless person but sustain? How do we survive, right? How do we do that? If you can't plant a garden and you can't tend a garden, you can't stay right there with your garden and all of those sort of things, a good way to supplement your diet, if you are having to live in such a way where we're under a market of the beast system, and maybe you're having to live a semi-nomadic lifestyle and all of those kinds of things, a very good way to supplement your food would be to learn about wild edibles and what you can plant. Also, something that I've been thinking about, not very deeply, but just been considering some lately, is if you live in a situation where you know several, maybe friends, family members, whatever, living right around you that own different little spots of land, it might be a wise idea to start planting fruit-bearing trees around your guys' land, where you guys can be kind of nomadic and pick around the edges of that land, if and it is you refuse the mark of the beast and they come and try to take your property from you. So obviously learning those wild edibles in a mark of the beast situation is a wise idea, because you're not going to be able to tend your garden anyway. You're not going to be able to take all the canned stuff with you. You're not going to be able to carry it. You're not going to be able to haul it around. You're not going to be able to take the jars and the pressure cooker and all of those kinds of things in that time frame, right? Which I suspect will be a pretty short time frame according to what the scripture seems to teach. However, it still exists, it's still there. And so you always need to be thinking towards those things, thinking ahead to what you're going to do if, what you're going to do when, and learning now while you have the ability to learn how you're going to handle those situations. So garden like the 1500s, right? Learn about your wild edibles. Learn what is around you that will allow you to help survival in the day and times that are to come, because this world is heading quick, fast, and in a hurry towards what the Bible has prophesied. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.